From 16 July to the end of July, we made about £3,600 from Airbnb. And as I'm recording this video on the 7th of August, we are on track to make £6,000 in revenue from our Airbnb. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to share another property story. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen my video that I talked about the property I regretted buying, which was a leasehold property, a one-bed flat on a ground floor. Guess what? I bought another property in the UK, yes. And today is not going to be a sad morose story. It's going to be an exciting one. So it is a property that is a terraced house that I bought through a company, and I split it into two flats. And so far, I'm excited to announce that I have not regretted that decision. So with this property, we currently have the two flats on Airbnb. So we own both of the flats. When I say we, the owners of the business, so I'm a director and I'm an owner of the business, but there's one other person in the business. So I'll usually be using the word we. So we own this property and we have both on Airbnb. So we started the Airbnb in March, but because we were both busy, we gave it to an Airbnb manager. And it wasn't doing as well as we would like, so we decided to take over the Airbnb ourselves, and yours truly took over and started handling it. I did the listing. If you're on my Instagram stories, you probably saw me showing you the listing. I'll put the listings as well in the description of this video so you can see how it looks. Let me know your thoughts about it when you see the pictures and the videos, and I'll put a lot of pictures and videos on this video as I talk so that you guys can see how things are going. The first one upstairs is a one-bedroom flat. So it's got one bedroom, one bathroom, one kitchen. It's not an open plan. The kitchen is separate from the living room. And it's got like a lounge area. I'll show you the lounge area as well. And the second one is a two-bedroom flat. So that one is the one downstairs. It's got two bedrooms, one bathroom, one living room, and a dining area. And in July, from 16 July to the end of July, we made about £3,600 from Airbnb. And as I'm recording this video on the 7th of August, we are on track to make £6,000 in revenue from our Airbnb. And I'm like, property is not that bad for once. So I'm going to go into the details of how we bought the property, how we made our decision to use it for Airbnb, how we split it into two flats, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to go through all the details, and I'm going to show you all the pictures and videos throughout the whole process. A lot of people have asked me about this property because I talk about it here and there on my social media channels. So this is the time that I'm going to delve deep into it. Let's get right into the video. So we bought this property in December 2024. Actually, that's been a long time now. When we bought it, it was a terraced house in Kent, and the idea was to use it for an HMO. So we did our research in the area, realized that there are a lot of HMOs in Kent. So this is in Canterbury, and Canterbury is known for the University of Kent. So there are a lot of HMOs in that particular area. So we decided that, okay, HMO might be a bit saturated, so let's use it for Airbnb instead. Because we took some property courses and we realized that to make more money from a property, so they call it super profits, the two best ways to do so is using it for Airbnb or for HMOs. Now, when we bought this property, we bought it in auction, which was one of the things we shouldn't have done. But then again, now the outcome is great, so I can talk about it. So the property was on track to be converted into two flats already. They had gotten planning permission in 2016 to convert it into two flats, and they got it approved. But because Canterbury is an area that the council is a bit more like involved because it's like a historic town, they required them not to make the dormer, which is like the higher part of the roof. They didn't want them to make it big, but they made it big, the people that were converting it. And we didn't notice that before we bought it. So we went into the auction and bought this property We were excited because it was our first property that we are buying as a business, to see how the property business will work out. And when we bought it, we decided, okay, it's time to look into it. So we got a builder to look at the property because they were in the process of converting it into 2 flats, but they did not finish. um and that's one of the red flags I would say with buying property. Ideally, don't buy a property where somebody is doing work on it and hasn't finished, because there could be several reasons why that work has not finished. And if you take it on, you could find a lot of problems with it, which is what happened with our property. So we had a budget for the renovation, and we had to blow through that budget. We had to get more money from other investors because there were some hidden things in that property. So I'll go through some of the main things that you need to look at when you're trying to convert a house into 2 flats, especially a house like ours. So with the planning, one thing you have to do in terms of research is that find out whether other properties on the street or in the area have gotten planning approval for such works, and that makes it easier for you to get approval for what you're trying to do. So with ours, there were buildings literally 2 blocks away from us, and one opposite us that had been converted into 2 flats. So it was quite obvious, and also the old owner had gotten the approval. So it was quite obvious that when we go back to planning, we will get the approval. So planning agreed that we should reduce the dormer and we can continue to convert it into 2 flats. Then we got introduced to building control. So that's the second thing you need to be aware of when you're trying to do major works like this. Building control is from the council, and they will come in to make sure that everything is right and done properly in terms of safety, security of the property before they sign it off for you to be able to rent it out or live in it. Now, building control had so many issues to discuss on this property. Let's start off with downstairs. So there was a basement which was supposed to be 2 of the bedrooms, and building control required, what's the word? Tanked. That's the word. So tanking a basement is a way by which you coat it with some material that prevents water from seeping from the ground into the building. And the old builders or the old owner did not tank the basement. So now we had to rip out the basement and tank it. Otherwise, building control will not allow us to continue. The second thing we had to do was find a means of escape in case of fire in the basement. So we had to create something called light wells. I'll probably show pictures on the video as I talk. So those light wells is supposed to be a means of escape when somebody needs to exit from the basement in case of fire without having to go through the property into the main door. Then the next one is that after that process, when we went upstairs, we now had to fix the dormer and also had to fix the living area for the flat upstairs. So the dormer had to come off, and we had to make sure that we had enough room in the property. And if you know UK properties, you would realize that there's usually these old properties have like a chimney breast. So we had to remove the chimney breast and replace it with some steel beams that were supposed to support the chimney, because we've removed the chimney breast. So that cost us additional, which we hadn't budgeted for as well. And reducing the dormer meant that we had to redo the dormer again, which was not cheap. If you want me to do a video with all the numbers, let me know in the comments, and I will do another video with all the numbers, how much we bought it, how much we renovated it for, all the issues that came up in terms of like the numbers that surprised us and all that, and how we're looking like now. So when we finished building the dormer, we also had to change the internal layout of the flat upstairs because building control had some issues about a room or a house, no, not a house, one of the rooms coming down into the space where the kitchen was, because I think it's presumed that fire could easily start from the kitchen. So when you have a staircase that leads into a space that is open into the kitchen, it's going to be a problem. So ideally, we're supposed to get 2 bedrooms from the flat upstairs, but we ended up getting 1 bedroom because of this shortfall, which building control was not willing to compromise on. Now, the next thing I'll mention when converting a house into 2 flats is electricity, gas, and water. Because what happens is when you're converting, you need to make sure that each of the properties have different electricity supply, different gas supply, and different water supply. And those were surprisingly so expensive. Guys, those were surprisingly so expensive. We had to now engage the suppliers and the network provider. So one thing you notice is when you're trying to, for instance, split electricity into two, you have the electricity supplier. So in our case, ours was OVO Energy, but OVO Energy's supply is on a network, and that network provider is different. So in this case, that network provider was UK Power Networks. So we had to reach out to OVO to tell them of our intentions. Then we reached out to UK Power Networks. UK Power Networks had to come in and create two different connections, create 2 meter boards, and give us something called an MPAN number. That was what you take back to OVO to be able to now get two different supplies. That was a very long and winding process, and that took so much more time even after the works were done to get completed. So if you're trying to do any works like this, you need to reach out to those people very early at the beginning when you made your decision and get them to come in, and they will charge you as well. It's not free. So because of that, we made the upstairs building electric only. We didn't add gas because when we realized how much trouble we had gone through to just split electricity, we just kept electricity upstairs for heating and for electricity, and downstairs we kept the gas as was for the main building, and now that was supplying the 2 bed downstairs. Now with water as well, we needed to have two supplies, so we had to reach out to the water company. I think their quote came out to like £3,000. It was crazy expensive, and they also came in. They had to dig into the streets to create a new line. They had to work with our builder to be able to get the right trenches into the property and all that. That was a nightmare. We got that done. So now when we got all those three done, that's when the builder could complete the works. In terms of selecting a builder, one thing I noticed is initially we selected a builder from mybuilder.com, which is an app or a website that you can use to find tradesmen. But when we realized that the scope of the work had become more intense, we noticed that the tradesman was not up to the task. So one of the best ways I'll say in selecting a builder is to find somebody who has a proper company and who has history of doing such works. So this particular builder, we found them by Google search, but he was really good. He literally made our place look like new. And when we finished with it snagging, we didn't have any issues. So he was really, really good. And he knew what was going on. So whenever building control came in with any concerns, he would take it on, he would speak to them when we weren't too sure what we're doing, and he got everything sorted without issues. We really, really, really appreciated working with him. If you guys want to know who he is, if you want to work with him in future, especially in the Canterbury area, I think he works in London as well if he has a project here, let me know and I can refer you by just putting it in the comments. So we had the builder go through all of it till the end. He worked really fast. The builder took it on. So from when we bought it in January 2025, we exchanged in January 2025 all the way to like October 2025. We were still trying to figure all these things out. In the beginning, we waited 3 months for planning to come back because we had to go and get planning again because they had gotten planning 10 years ago. So that planning couldn't be used anymore. So we had to come back and get planning again. That took 3 months. So that gets us January, February, March. So in March, we got this old builder that came in, and he didn't know what he was doing because he thought he was just coming to do a small renovation, and it ended up being we need to tank the basement, we need to do the roof again because we had to do the dormer. So that became too much more work, so we had to kick him out, and we got this new builder in October. And the new builder from October all the way to February finished all the works. It was magical. Like when we finally got in and we saw that the works was finished, it was like we could not believe our eyes, and it was amazing. It was amazing to see the two flats come together. Now we get to exciting part. So our we remortgaged it which was another long process that I can go through if you guys want me to talk about it in another video. Whatever you want me to talk about this process, let me know by putting in the comments, and I will come and give you more details about it. So we remortgaged it. That took about 3 months as well, because we had to wait for all the approvals, building control approval, electricity certificates, gas certificates, water approval, sign up for all the supplies to show that we are paying our council tax, our water, our electricity, our gas. When we finished splitting as well, we had to go to the council to inform them. So that's how they register you, that you are 2 different flats now instead of 1 property. Then they'll use that to issue your council tax. So then you can use that to start paying your council tax. But the council tax didn't come quickly, because it has to go to a company called the valuation office, and the valuation office will be the one that would check to see what band each of their flats should be in. So in the meantime, the council gave us an estimate of how much we should pay, and we're paying that until the valuation office came through. So from March, we started on Airbnb. I'll put the numbers on the screen and the bookings on the screen as well. How we look like in March for the 2 flats, how we look like in April for the 2 flats, how we look like in May for the 2 flats, how we look like in June. And then by July, we're like, okay, this is not going like the way we planned. We need way much more money from this property. So we are going to take it on ourselves. And that's when we took it on. And July blew our mind. July blew our mind. Like, I was sitting here looking at the properties being booked back to back to back to back. And I was like, what is going on here? So that's how we made like £3,600 in revenue. And if you to consider our costs, like our costs are like £800 for mortgage, council tax is like £120 for each of the flats, and then the bills, so electricity, water and gas. And this £3,600 was just the second half of July. And now in August, we are on track to make about £6,000 in revenue. So August is going to be really profitable. Now then again, August is peak season because everybody's on holiday and all that. But Canterbury is such a good area. Why? Because one, we've had a student who's doing a placement in the University of Kent book out 40 nights. So we've collected money for 40 nights up front, and it's not even yet time for them to stay. They are staying in October somewhere. Secondly, most people that are visiting are coming with their family, and because there's a university around, I noticed that most people that are visiting were coming for graduation. So that also helped us to get a lot of bookings. And then thirdly, because it's a very touristy town, there are a lot of people coming in to just spend the weekend or stay and do the touristy stuff. That also brings us bookings. And the last group of people that I enjoy hosting are the people that are coming for contractor jobs. So we've had someone book us repeatedly for a contractor who's coming to work in the area. And it's so funny because sometimes when the month starts, you notice that the weekends are all booked. Then all of a sudden, the contractors are late bookers, because I think the company they work for book it, and then they only book it when they know that they are coming. So then you see the contractors booking bam, 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 and then they just fill the weekday. So that's how our August looked like. And so far, I'm grateful to God how far we've come. If you guys want me to talk about anything else in details, let me know in the comments. And if you want to see anything else, I'll be putting them all on the video. And you can check in the description for other stuff as well. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any advice for me on how to run our Airbnb to make it more profitable, do let me know, because I'm new in this business. I'm not here to influence you about Airbnb. But before I go, I need to mention this. So because of how things were working out for us, I started looking at other properties in the area, even though I did not have money to buy another. Ours is very close to the Canterbury East Station, but I found another property close to the Canterbury West Station. And the way that property is built, it has parking, and it's built in a way that you can easily convert into 2 flats internally without doing any renovation. So they've got the ground floor having a kitchen and having a toilet as well. So you just have to add a shower, and that's it, you have a studio. And the ground floor, you enter from the front, but the 2 floors upstairs, so there's 2 floors upstairs, you enter from the back. I'll put the floor plan on the video whilst I'm talking. So you enter from the back, and you can go straight upstairs without coming into where I'm considering to make a studio. And when you go upstairs, there's a bathroom on the first floor, and then on the second floor there's an ensuite as well. So if you are smart, you can use one of the rooms for the living area and kitchen, and then leave the bathroom there. And upstairs will also have an ensuite, so you can have a 2-bed upstairs and a 1-bed, a studio downstairs. And if you buy it, for instance, even in your own name, you live in the studio but you use upstairs for Airbnb, you'll literally be living rent free or mortgage free, because the amount of money we are seeing coming from the Canterbury area just by doing your Airbnb well, you will get properly booked upstairs. So if you guys are interested, let me know, and I'll send you like some documents so you can understand like the plan of that particular property, and we can discuss it if you want to reach out to me. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is different from what I've been doing so far. And yeah, let me know if you want to hear about anything else, and I will make another video about it. It's been Abigail. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video.